Right, yamo adji woye imbiri ndo so editors forum nkonko ndi asa jabuga jempene ehia na bunye momze kitiko egunguti no de bunye ko that so na okay if you na waso wo bunye papa na bunye so ra cash ba ho na twitumi de bunye nti aboko na bi wa ya ne sadam ya biri menene ne mkrama kwa kachapadi wa ya ne sadam masa apra ya so ka kwema amasa ya agro pranse ngote nti odi bia be se gumo na wala mutum na menato ina so e babo hwe nkomoti kaka nkran omampai na oya otumfo se baba ne bokọ kete oya nsane bia wotum wo kan suspension pandai oya election suspend pandai election election rerun if court no wotum no waba bokọ kete se we twa ka 18th January 2026 was the quarter of the assembly to gun room. Unya hum da wora to the assembly to go. To the Supreme Court where in Kermantum, another High Court where in Kermantum, no Babazasam, or can or Northern region, but that's an advantage. 18th January 2026, now because the second hearing, natural about to commission the date in our point. Chara, were killing out to Yokokite and bring him for some of that to go. I'll be here, don't be to be in school, I became winter now. Here another automotive ibi metumeto anamro ebe kwekite no munsam ne bi na enso yetum na ya hwe da ame mokominchir mokohe meze na da ketiko eku na okoninchir okokohe sisia ahuna wudu so wor branka sankasa ye oya the basic schools because if you all student all their concentration or lie oya the secondary schools sin bibia sin university o wie okoke ye djuma polytechnic all the attention lies on senior high schools. And I'm going to all students who to Anamako. Ghana for yourself, so doom judgment with Afuta man, you can bring a shop when ever for that. Yes, CCC, or yeah, Hinadano, the socket is similar to me too, about moderation and so there. 31st, Yoko, sorry, about Maja being with you. I'm watching now, watch, if you may be a certain Makodo. Zawutum, your other boy community, can't go a hole. But doom judgment force or about. Mama zene fi wontu wonyira nchen na omboa na edumete tomoko na pinyan na nkrata ebirum na na eba be atwetwe nkomo mesene Omar Bin Abdullah nda yi hosema babi National Petroleum Authority for yeba oya munye na ezine ya shenkomo bonase
Mido Ghana biana Ogo fa jebiri wi aba besu en fita no pa e say baby she Manga chef
Junior Em senso na fu me bi die no
Sister Coach pa enti woni gas
I'm used to be why my wife
down yankana wa
Sister Coach use gas ye fast ye easy ye convenient
LPG, let me see your hand. Ooh, I got
Class of some Jacob. Upon me,
don't come back to that chain, yeah. And I ne penado meja, we'll be him, Abacata, so phone. And they pay a change in your land. Yeah, no marble. Over 5 star buses. So, Sabala, someone bobo. It's in a church, to Motibaran, Adabachi. Nti se obandama neja ya apprehend ase ya read am papai Sunday bring the date ahin
17th
edwumafo wetu anwonka unti anwonka bucha on ka da beda
yehwe anka ban na me fan je za ba kada ahon hon hye da kuye ma on che ba bucha ho ka na so po to ho but anka an create meziza no on the private business the income comes with expenditure
nti oda aban no yin edwom mpanyfo what ase de utua ka wo wontua ka wo brain no baba
Utego.
Kramo. Obi anya butu wesu buenya kwan. Don't say mo buenya mba. Nti nti kramo ono na me de bia makala happy yourself. Yidi buenya esikafu wudi, enyafu wudi, abodefu wudi, atentefu wudi, ntentamofo wudi. Obi adi buenya ni bi. Nemu mo be woda wa me wa kotokum.
Umbe oda ayo botom
buenya ne be da wana anyo wa kotokum mo so ho normal e feel pompo so na yes buenya akahu na azekra owo ma buenya o yin gyan de say nyo call mpa ebe ibe invitation because buenya de until nkofo bi won afehye ya ahonkoten wudi buenya ni bia nka mofo de buenya
authorities here professor na so de buenya the normal church service
it's what he will be come me catch up we fefi wudi buenya ne sene
asole sisi amoko de buenya
Kamu oh no boy wouldn't come in meet when you wouldn't
che bro go enjoyment
enjoyment
31st
31st na
asore no prof na asore that on 31st
kamu e be the why no hye be afinu ko ewie ya 31st obey chapel e be 31st me ya chapel me 24th we ala 9 no buenyem ebende
njo de I don't know where the mazin wo de ho hye buenyenim
oni ntira America de obere nyi butu wesu buenya kwado ntene mo mba
ani e current account ntane
asemu yin intama e kamwa tumutai oba na oboto anayin ezigbo yin bi eduka na asone hihye wana asone pefi no wa hihye mo ka ba mutu my hihye meye ya telephone ana me mebusuafo ya telephone ya hihye de okay the midate me na mbe ya nkwaso ye betrefi ya ben
to me
ebe na sabneti
ebusuan hihye ya
and ya kaso ya butu ya hihye so de 31st na nkofo be kwaso ahiye nkwaso
this will be to me
obi to me okay but the fact is the word deserve many nya banko tin da gbe na to your activities wo epe amanye kabo mi se wo de deserve maso mo nkofo your activities a ebi seize bi
Obiani sisi bia.
Obiani sisi bia. Enti awo aso na ere de na na mndi buenya. Wala ho.
Na cha so no sisi na wonze buenya. Asore na sisi da wonze buenya.
Kamu.
Sa so no sisi wonze buenya da na no.
Da me no sha. Me bi se fie ahoro aso na wa wode wonze buenya. Won yam wo ho.
Ancha no marriage be bia
to. Kamu. No marriage ba won yam won chu akokwa na mo ho.
Ncha
aponchire me nko ho. Fanta no coke won wi bi ho.
Ne de bia nche bia wo wi. De bia wo wi.
Kamu. Inti na America de. Obi yo butu we sisi bu ayew. Awu na ayew hihye de demi de ebe demi. Na so no so wa ho hihye de demi de ibisipi. Demi de yabokodam. Demi de ebe yedam. Yabokọ beach wom. Ikuma so wa ho hihye yabokọ beach wom. Yabokọ akaye donation ama ahona wunyi bi. Ahona wa ho hihye. But the task bad nyamina membe na wa yan. Also Kenya. Come on, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Susan, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Ben, Professor Kwamina Banfu Eje. Prof. Daniel Any man who there between my castle. All right, you know, yeah, I'm going to be Omar Bin Abdullah rehearsals. Yeah, for him, I kid you now, or yeah, BAWKU some tomorrow. Abeache papa. Late President J.J. Lawrence Okebi until late President Professor Altamirus Okebi until I'm paying the down John Ajakuku until I'm paying the down Nana the Danko Akufado. Okay, until I'm paying the down John Dramani Mama na breed okay until Wasanaba Ogurika say Sierra Yekesi. BAWKU Adri another on you. That's good. The Babas but me
no, Kabo Nyanyum no ma enyi je na buteyem.
Okay.
Nti mpeye kasa ngose kasabira o makomoteyem.
Very well.
Na ele president dey be president no KOFI.
The ibi baba.
Albo pata bire. Enti no yebeda mpeyfa wada no titera otufo setutu. Na ase wanu mola wetu daboa oye BAWKU na no nsama kamo ane de bia maka no nyipanyi na adue na mpanyimfa aya wotene fie mama foma we na nkan wakana nkan yofa wakana waka ho na otufo se tuteze wa be panyi na wanu bi so na bag gazere bada badu wom Domina.
Right, Domina, Kisco go to my country. Yanko go share or 2472 Abazi. Ha. MCR, may you share the ultimate record.
It is almost about 2.5 years since your predecessor invited me to mediate in a major conflict in BAWKU that had not only claimed the lives of many innocent souls but had become a major threat to the security of the nation. Almost a year ago, the people of Ghana handed the mandate of the governance of Ghana to Your Excellency, and you wasted no time in reaffirming the mandate of the BAWKU mediation. By the grace of God, we are able to assemble here this morning for us to present to Your Excellency the report of the mission you entrusted to us. We present a report for your kind consideration, whatever action you and your government consider appropriate. Before dealing with the report, you will permit me, Your Excellency, to thank you and your predecessor for the confidence reposed in me in entrusting this delicate matter to me. There's nothing more grievous than the peace and security of the land. Like I said, it was a mediation. It wasn't an arbitration, and I'm not here, as I said, to say that this one was wrong or this one. I'll present the facts as they are. And that's what it should be binding on all of us, whoever is there. I've spoken to before I came yesterday, I was on the phone for more than with my brother, the Nairi, explaining the circumstances to him in terms of the decision I took. And I have spoken to the BAWKU Napa, taking time all these periods to be speaking to everybody about it. The governments of the new Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress, led by President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo and President John Dramani Mahama, asked me to use my traditional mediation mechanisms to find an amicable solution to the situation in BAWKU, which both governments shall enforce. But before I continue, please, I said to the President, bear with me to read through all the report, because I don't want a situation where it will be said that they've doctored what I brought. So we have to read what I wrote so that everybody, my brother, the Nairi, and my son, the BAWKU Napa, will all know that that is exactly what I said. So it isn't the President who is doctoring anything. At the commencement of the hostilities, the government of President Akufo-Addo had issued statements stating government's view on the legal position. Both President Akufo-Addo and now President John Dramani Mahama came to a conclusion that historically, governments have intervened to resolve the matter without lasting peace. Again, they indicated that the courts of Ghana had also been invited to resolve the issues implicated in the BAWKU matter, and their pronouncements have not been respected by other sides if it went against them. As a result, both governments, who now represent the two main political traditions, now take a position that I should define a solution to the BAWKU situation using mediation, and my recommendations or conclusions shall be enforced by both governments at all times as a traditional solution to the problem. So, it is important to give a brief assessment of the documents submitted by the Nairi and the Bokunaba, as well as oral rendition of their respective cases, as part of efforts to mediate the chieftain's dispute in BAWKU to ensure lasting peace. That's an examination of the respective cases of the parties relative to the facts, custom, tradition, and the law will be evaluated and or examined. The case of the Mampuses in the Northern Territories, and specifically BAWKU in 1907. In 1957, so they claim, the CPP government, through its sympathizers in BAWKU, elected one Abugrabo Azoka as Bokunaba. And the case of the Kusasis is that they practiced the Tindana system, where the eldest male person in the clan becomes the traditional ruler, the leader of the clan, vested with administrative, judicial, and spiritual authority. However, when the British arrived in BAWKU in 1901, in their bid to advance the indirect rule system, they were not satisfied with the Tindani system, so they decided to adopt qualified Tindanis to become chiefs. And in areas where they could not find qualified Tindanis, they appointed other people as chiefs. The Kusasis further contended that it was around this period that the Mampuses presented themselves to the British as chiefs of their ethnic community in BAWKU and got registered accordingly. Further contended that it was around this period that the Mampuses presented themselves to the British as chiefs of their ethnic community in BAWKU and got registered accordingly. However, the Tindani position was never abolished as a traditional arrangement. Thus, the chiefs and Tindanis coexisted, but the new Mamprusi rulers became power drunk and started misusing their authority over the Kusasi landowners. Hence, a decision by the Kusasis to remove the Mamprusi chiefs and replace them with their own. So, when the last Mamprusi chief died in 1956, the Kusasis gathered in BAWKU in 1957 and selected a son of a prominent Tindani in BAWKU called Abugrabo Azoka I to fill the vacancy as Bokunaba. Following the death of Naba Abugrabo Azoka in 1983, his first son was selected in 1984 to succeed him as the next Bokunaba by name Zugran Asigri Abugrabo Azoka II. He has continued in that position till date. But I'll try and let me give you some background of previous governments and judicial efforts to resolve the BAWKU matter. BAWKU Affairs, report of the committee appointed by His Excellency the Acting Governor General, Lord Listowel, to inquire into and report his findings on the claim of Abugrabo Azoka to have been elected or appointed in Nalurigu connected with the appointment of a new Bokunaba in the person of Mahama Yeremia, a Mamprusi prince. The Kusasis had gathered in overwhelming numbers in BAWKU to also elect and install Abugrabo Azoka, a Kusasi, as the chief of BAWKU and the head of the then canton chiefs in the Kusasi area. This followed the death of Na Awuni, who was the Mamprusi chief of BAWKU and head of the Kusasi area. The enslavement of a Kusasi chief created a situation where there were two rival claimants to the skin of BAWKU and all residing in BAWKU. Several petitions and representations were made to government of the day, which decided to set up a committee to inquire into the rival claims. The committee was made up of lawyer S.D. Opoku Afari as chairman, Nana Yawa Ajimambadu, then Domahinsis. They suspected that the arrival of the Europeans might have added the establishment of Mamprugu hegemony in the area. At the time of the work of the committee, the Mamprusi who appeared before the committee insisted that the land in the Kusasi area belonged to the Nairi. SD Opoku Afari and others versus Yeremia, Mamprusi Civil Appeal number 80 in the year 1958. The Mamprusi deposed chief sought an order of certiorari in the divisional court to quash the proceedings and report of the Afari Committee and the Governor General's decision that Abugrago Azoka has been customarily elected and installed the chief of BAWKU. This decision of the Governor General was contained in the Gazette publication notification. Essentially, the Mamprusis argue that the terms of the area are interchangeable titles and not what the learned judge suggested to as mutually exclusive. The Court of Appeal therefore allowed the appeal and restored the Governor General Listowell's decision that Abugrago Azoka has been validly elected and installed chief of BAWKU. The Governor General was a representative of Queen Elizabeth, who was then the Queen of England and exercised dominion over Ghana at that time. And this was on the 21st of October 1958. The Court of Appeal then was equivalent to our present-day Supreme Court. It was a binding and authoritative decision and became part of the law of Ghana. Following the decision of the Court of Appeal, the Governor General made an order prohibiting Jeremiah Mahama from holding himself as Bokunaba. He was also required to reside outside the radius of to have been withdrawn from the person named in column 1 of the second schedule of this decree as chiefs in respect of the places specified respectively in relation to them in column 2 of that schedule. Any person specified in the said column 1 of the said schedule Chieftaincy Act 1961, Act 81, from purporting to exercise the functions of a chief, and all other persons shall be deemed to be required by such an instrument not to treat him as a chief, and accordingly, any person who contravenes any such prohibition or requirement shall be guilty of an offense under the said section 4. Any person who was chief in any place specified in column 2 of the second schedule to this decree, immediately before any such person as is referred to in column 1 of that schedule was recognized as chief, Abugrago Azoka was removed from office as chief of BAWKU and head of the Kusasi area, and the chiefs he appointed to the 15 other subdivisions listed above were also deposed. NLC Decree 112 further provided in the section that the instruments specified in the third schedule to this decree are hereby revoked. One of the instruments listed on page 8 of the decree is titled Jeremiah Mamprusi Prohibition Order 1959. The NLC decree thereby placed the Nairi as the one. I just want to clarify. My son Cletus Avokai is here because he has to be very careful in what pronouncements he made publicly. It is not right. It's a dicey situation. We are all trying to make amends and get people to move together as brothers and sisters. It looks like he's making various pronouncements and all that, which wouldn't endure to the peace that we want. So please, I wanted to, if he was here, I was going to tell him, but the message will get to I invite him and tell him that we've gotten to a state where we all have to find peace. Then Bokunaba is the Bokunaba. The law is on his side. We agree to that. But you don't make pronouncements on radio and everywhere that will incense the other side. Where we have reached is more like reconciliation. The Nairi accepts, we have to get them all together. At a point, they are all married. When I had the reconciliation, one is saying I was drinking Pito with you across the
mediation, and whether he actually had accepted to mediate. And he confirmed that he had. And so even though the mediation has been long, and I can understand the complexity of the BAWKU case, and so it needed time and patience to be able to thoroughly engage all the parties and be able to flesh out the facts and finally come out with a recommendation. Today, I'm pleased that we have come to the end of that journey, and we're embarking on the next leg of the journey. And as he himself said, this was not an arbitration. An arbitration normally will make an award on who is right and who is wrong. This was a mediation, and the next leg of the journey is to reconcile our two brothers and sisters from the Kusasi and the Mampusi side. This conflict is not winnable militarily. No side can vanquish the other. BAWKU is important to us because it is in the extreme northeast corner of our country. And we all know what is happening just across the border from BAWKU. In all the national security reports that I receive, there is urgency put on settling and bringing peace with armed groups that are operating in our northern neighbor, Burkina Faso. And so the end of this mediation gives us the opportunity to see what the way forward is in terms of bringing peace and calm. BAWKU has the potential, BAWKU Naba, to ensure that we're able to bring reconciliation between the two groups. On behalf of the Vice President, Nana Pokwajima, on behalf of senior government officials, on behalf of the government and people of Ghana, I wish to thank Otumfuo for this very honorable job he has done for God and country. He has shown that he does not belong to Ashanti alone. He is a national asset. And so, Nana, I thank you very much. We've received a copy, and I'm happy that you took the decision to be transparent about it and read the report yourself. This has been covered live. The whole nation has heard you reading the reports, and I'm sure that we can act on it and make sure that we bring peace to BAWKU. I thank you all very much.
President, we thank you for thanking us until Otumfuo 72 hours. Press release, Baba. So I'm paying the press release in Waba. I mean, so on by sir, I prefer Mangote Magina. The Gwenala, Naba Naba for work on Umutu again. Now he show Mubum, nine. Bian Uncle Bian Dynamis. As well, what's in it?
Kamo, a man paying Wakano. Your recommendations are Otumfuo why Wakan the American Umutu Bokuna Baygwan Osanda Oyukusas in the Mampusi Nya obey your mind on ocean when now hondo. Into Oya Yaw there, obey Yahuni Yaw there, Kusasi, Obosha Mampusi Fodo. Ino obeye mampusi fu su yo de mampusi fu kusase fu wo hwe mampusi ni nso ayo de nsu hwen barka mo yanka no kwama yan se mankote madwuno ya bada mi obanda ma na me de sikuma do da ma yene mpeyinfa tita akanofo kamo you see akanofo Mampusifu want to my woman, so one chip. One for sin to there. A she, a hey, back, Kusasa for Wondi, Mampusifu Wondi, Ubian the mine. Take it here. As for us, come on, man there. Kusasi, maybe Mampusifu, Mampusifu will be the Kusasa photo, the one tassinty. And to come on, what to baby and what? Kusasa for what ye, oh man, quack. Mampusifu wodi yo ye woman kwa ka mo ye na mredi ti ogua igwai na edina obi an me show dem
yeah bia na bandru ho
abudu nko ina onyi asebu abu asebu kwa mankasi wanya 3 paramount chiefs ye wasebu o mahi ho ye wo abra wo mahi ho ina ye wo kwa mankasi fu wo mahi ho Abu mahinampo ekoma oso abodu ko mahin eno sum abakampa mahin o mahin onu no hwa abra state no do bade ko abodu ko capital town no so nangasan abodu ko mahin wo obi adina mensin kamo obi adina mensin manyanko yako infantimana district na lo so infantiman district na la osi wona nkasa ye wo so pono mahin wo yo nkusuku mo mahin wona infesi nyamwensa ansa me idu mankasi so yo mankasim o mahin wo ani ndebe bi wa onyaza o de o ye chinchire twan come me gwa fa bem district ya ye ohwe ye wadi no mahin wo ho ye wo come no mahin wo ho ye wo aguna mahin aguna wo mahin wo ho po ye ko ebrema ye wo ebrema no mahin wo ami ndebe bi wa ka munye de ye nwane mi 7 ibi bakero wona ntase o ye ten ni nalan
ejepeduso
asama na me kafa be ni nalan mama madam na me yan komande ntame be owom oka ho ma hinzin obom daman na wo pere o sane me kase asase oto wan na jepedo wa asase ne mun
yefede agwo
obi ampere oje man yanko na kaba mi sede nkofa ye na nan
mi ya yiwo me ne da to de dasa abotugwa da jenkonkoto abene biem na mmom the other party when I said the other party the new patriotic party pay from the yimfo the samno kidi ayasem de bia on kramantom was a court no ne finso da be declare a vacant na mmom odoko mrema so yefofo na wa akade on the 13th of January wo second hearing yenkete aye ekwa mrema so no open nsem otomosi ya befie na ya bobon ho nkomo na ya kwene.
That the main or the substantive case, which is the application for an order of certiorari from this court seeking to quash the judgment delivered by the High Court in Tamale on 24th November 2025. Also, the Honorable Court has ordered that we serve the first interested party, or Mr. Nsala Wakpal, the NDC parliamentary candidate by substituted service, through his WhatsApp, the High Court Tamale notice board at the Supreme Court, and also at his residence in Pandai. So we are most grateful to the court, and we look forward to making our case in the subsequent sittings of the court set at 13 January 2026. Thank you for your time and attention.
The main agenda for today was to get the substituted service. But in addition to that, there's the order to the PC to suspend any proceedings.
As long as the courts have accepted substituted service, he's going to be served. We'll come back to court on the 13th of January, where the main case will continue.
But the NDC's candidates said that you have not served him. Perhaps, indeed, your party did not get him the right, service when it comes to this particular.
So first of all, it's not the respondent or the petitioners who should serve him or the plaintiff. No, it's an officer of the court that should do that. That is the bailiff who should do that. So the courts couldn't get him to be served. And for us, we think that the courts have done what they need to do by agreeing on substituted service, and we think that that's the right thing to be done. And we are happy with what has happened.
You must. If he tries to still be run away from it, it is very consequential. 7 days is 7 days, and in any case, the rerun of that particular elections has also been suspended. So there is no need to run. Come face the court and get a judgment so that we can see where the judgment is going to go. But we are very confident and we are grateful. But we call on the Supreme Court to continue to uphold the rule of law and hold onto the strict strategy and procedure.
Obviously, we are grateful. The court akasa. If we are grateful or not, court of the oil final verdict in bar. Asor.
Damin some semiyawa. Ewu de aya politicians we use strategy. Na the Supreme Court da huna sepa kwa me yenwura mpa omar Ghana nya no court kase opaye ho a chide gehezo se gehena
the
Hague ayo chire ho Supreme Court anmona anada uti ma de
yo
What kind of running?
Don't carry running. No, that without the bar or your speaker. Now, a friend, a parliamentary clerk.
No.
Are you majority? Would be as without some electoral commission, electoral to catch date on war. I will tell you what now about you. The Supreme Court has 7 data. What about Transam? So the Supreme Court has 7 data about Transam. No parliament to work as a home. But anyone is not a speaker of parliament. Then some can. Katabia there. Supreme Court about Transam. You see, it's last week. Minority for why the Budana and one cooperate force work on one. But in the complaint, the speaker of parliament is you what's it? American will say Supreme Court Abba Sunday day. Bosho Akada, no the parliament. What can the Supreme Court and Ayanana? Although one announce when you see, I can announce reduce mother 30th December. Mokoto Abad. It's a channel panel. Ebakiana Tune Akoshe Supreme Court. Inti yisi no now 30th. So Supreme Court want na sa ma 30th so that anu otu aye election no we ko Supreme Court we me Supreme Court judgment to the baban wasra into ye then men 30th no so me Supreme Court wa batena so akere obaye second hearing
obaye second hearing no we tell asam na oye MP elect in Orika na NDC no Lucy no so Orika kamo asama me pede me bisa a majority for what president na nke ye running as question be bisa one day the seat waja what the buy that
kakana o hona po ma parliament no mo fan wo ba majority to third who say
no what can ma what the buy ye na no we bugu otwom sayo twi no wa buy ye no woko we wia oba a parliament a business of the day now no what to have you all your own private business like me play mama MP elect no o shukra there o fo ne tonto honorable dachikwesi no and kamo menyimara ehwe figure MP elect nyen ina mo lucy nyen a kamo what you bomda na lu pastor pade no bunwen oye abano na mo any so use strategy there government in power ntoro no the campaign and to aba me MP na party wo power in development ono du be kukupu won na so ntene mo pa na ko insurance ni mo de so ya kukure so ya bentie so ya peche so nya peche ona na ye pedo wo present in wo or parliament that they will still vote for him nti mandisi fo be ye bia no nya do oboku kisaga but ame me kana ma case di do oya owura nyandam ha MP matiri na ma boda on fanchem say na so da on said who cry no on say no nyame be Supreme Court verdict to do be bia no appear Supreme Court no so on jintum wo High Court decision of the ben won kanya running Supreme Court obiti asem na ewie obiti asem no wie o no di njaye baba we running no won sadam kanya another o maintain as MP elect no amen na bie na the baba asem ebie ekoda oba maintain ekoso da bokọ running papa wo kwa running no wan kwa running no show him cry na je won na do peti na pampe say what the mother we MP a nyame wo ho duwe MP wan form no won konkoto abana papa ma ha ho na nyame na bokọ kwa mo osane ye hu bi da yati bi da ono bo da chikwesi ne di osasen north MPP in power we use strategies bia na so constituency but what da chikwesi nala na yepe apa wo se to abama nti papa ma ha ho ati wo so de baba pia wo rera na nsare brado wo kwa your constituency your people will still vote for you massive
Oda ngotana to abama nti ye ko hele yimza ohia da mewie school a ola mbu nkompo na fim tumo hwemachiri na mokɔhwɛ da mobom school bi ma na domepi including na me na awa wo so tumi team ye wie school bi ye tumi wie school ye kai tumi ko ho and always in concentration in secondary school. But it's also baby. You be also a crutch, you be also a nurse, you be also a KG, you be also start to a class 1. Hey, now you're school. Or to know, I saw an apa. I saw what I can ask all of them from Chelsea, KJ, and Abano Movement. So I bought a table and a Pobian and young fee. Now, so schools PR. We get basics, which know the basics, amenities are who I to me the question in Kevin.
Baby, every school, no, they to me a call, like a BB ma orders for there, and parents, every school. On Intina, on Namduma, Yayukui, Yakakan and Sibuma, obeying here, they boko back to be a chassis. They to me a quay bibicra. Yakashem from our own crane. My own so we took our bone was no way, Siazi. Nam also in your Dubiano, we to why. On Intina, on Namduma, you too.
Madawasi na mada etifu inaswasi. The ma and vice president Okan Oshasi I don't know yashasi wacheli okay na no kweli azibiara obe no na ye oyezinenti okay so that Okan last year na nche ye pede ye zaire but wanye okay nti this year no ye jeyim ye hyen hu nkran dey say impe bie na ye ba sempo a ye ba shase na ye mo ye afoforo fe yamina aduma akwa me o kase nyina na yakan ho abomeze but ye won kofo be 30 to 35 a nyina yakan ho abom yame aduma coming 27th of this December obia bia obia binu wo kumase binu wo nkran binu wo takraze nyina yarba ye behia na ma wada ye no ekona ye foda ye bekan ho abom ne yetumi abo school no na ahanso ya bobo he won kankran no ye ba fadam kwano do na ya boa nti mfi de ya bira papa but amina do ara kwa ye hu de manzamalo kwa ne nzamalo kwa enyim class bia wo man na abofra obo no
kete ya kwa aba ebi awo 93 bisu 97 bisu 94
nice move na damre kanu sadwa in the yene old school na ma matani na we kejina o secondary school but I ni ye fi there e sha so baby na nche ye wo mbo bi a eho mo na ode ye to ono no amesisa him basic no original na se yere me yemudo na ye focus wo hen basic na oboboa usande basic ni hia fiti class 1 na the KCJHS se ndama nkoye ya ka mo medo bokwayin yes ndama nkoye me kacho BEC ma 45 50 60 bo eba kire wa awo ma kire wa eba kire mu na we o pray me with them watch on board show the same thing job do you obam wala wa hands no edu the breed no the point no na say ntuma breed ye enya quality teachers enya facility papa ma wa breed ye ya kamo ono no duwa na in the another the member put of front side to usande ufiri da what the train teachers na work hono wan shawan with that one work here na what the child kamo now so you do kumu na the train teachers e bi okọ SS and now one training college one tinupo okọ private school no the child oh you know who child am private school in at the private school student gina ho na kafa government school student in be gina wa na ngwasa abam yes na ngwasa abam na government school in na imiru gwase
ana osumo imba jimbe o
kamo
mkekesi
until before assume be ochiri obo ochiri memo wala ati wa no na yes bibi wo bibi wo ati kamo enanum no wetanu class of 1997 me yemo na abado 1993 fo already yeguro on America there focusing was secondary schools and then second cycle institution nti se basic nso wo mo da kamoye odo wo mo do na wokokoshe schools naja mo keke bi awo nso mo fa mo ma ntompo nso ye de you school abohwechi
oye de you school abohwechi ye do pedant ye boko hina na so himbra so na mbo achina anapa bi sha ASORBA na oya fire service odum je adwuma nsem moto mo keka fa ibide Christmas na hobo a ebutum na yaye ASORBA za baba bisigaro na odin kaso etuma aka otum da bro na mo ye mo maze yan chane nso so de yen kai hinechiri yaye nkabom dwumagino osomebia fi bai yaye mpanyifo osomebia na kasa etumete ebi o ma kasa butwa ma onyanko platform no bi on dom pedal basana mo chiraba yinam 10 na ko kasam wo say bia ofida aka 9 akosunu bufu aka 8 nti yemmo maze yen hye ne so de ibutwa na mora abutwa obobwa na say kare etwa ndom hina inam 45 na etumi wie school a na yetuna hia yetumi akwa onye kakra na